Buenos dias, day 14, the penultimate day, leaving Caldas, Reis. It's about 20 past 7 in the morning. Lovely morning, it's meant to be a lovely day today, quite warm, so already got all the sunscreen and all that sort of stuff on in preparation. Got my little high-vis jacket, which has been very, very useful actually. Just to take the little slight chill that's in the air. I don't expect I should be wearing it for very long. Got about 21 kilometres today, similar distance to yesterday, maybe slightly less, to Padron, which is the place I mentioned before, but we'll say it again, where St James, one of Jesus's apostles, first landed in Spain, in Europe, to preach the gospel, and then he went back to the Holy Land and was murdered. And then his body was brought back to Spain, landed at Padron, where he was initially, I think there's a church there dedicated to him, the place where he supposedly landed, and then his body was secretly buried, as I said, there about 1,000 years later or something. Someone had a vision, found the bones, put it at Santiago, built a cathedral, and the rest, as they say, is history for millions of pilgrims since that particular time. I'm actually, although I'm going to Padron, I'm actually going slightly beyond Padron, because tomorrow obviously is the last day, and into Santiago it would be about 25k, and some of it's uphill apparently, towards Santiago. So it was suggested, and I thought that's a good idea, to go 2 or 3 kilometres past Padron to a hotel, and then you get a not quite so long a day tomorrow. Start maybe earlier and beat the crowds, because everyone's going to be heading back tomorrow. Because at Padron, that spiritual variant, as I called it yesterday, rejoins the trail once again. So yes, all good, feeling good today. But I was thinking about this. Every day is a different hotel, every day is a different bed, every day is a different shower, and some of the beds are better than others. The one yesterday, they do your back in a little bit, but and you have to get, and the quality, I must admit, I thought you research these things, but I certainly take more care next time. That's been fine, don't get me wrong. All we need is a bed, isn't it, really? But they considerably vary in quality, and the price I paid is pretty much the same for each one. Did it all through booking.com and a couple with hotels.com. Very, very straightforward, I must admit, in that respect. So all very good. We're starting to climb, so I'm going to leave it there. I said legs feeling good, everything feels good. Only 2 days to go, so it should be a good day today. Speak to you later. Adios. Well and truly out of town now. Lovely, as I said, a lovely morning. I haven't been out this early for quite a while actually, and in a different environment. That was by the coast, I think. Doing it in the woodland today. The birds are singing, everything's waking up. Not many people, a few pilgrims around, but past a couple of guys who I seem to see every morning. I think they're Italian. No, I always just say hello to them and smile and wave at each other. I say, because we keep bumping into each other pretty much the same time, trying to find our way out of town every day. Although that was very straightforward, I must say. Not a bad little place, Caldas, Reis, actually. Not quite up there with Pontevedra, but there you go. And I just passed another couple that I think they're German. Seem to see them a lot now, but she just about manages to speak, and he just goes, "Meh." There you go. Well, takes all types, doesn't it? So I was going back, I thought there was going to be a hill, probably one in a minute, talking about the different varieties of rooms, and being a single traveller and not being in a group, because there's a lot of tour groups, like people like Norma and Victoria and that, who I met before. They were like a tour group as such. They're walking together, on their own individually, but they're with a group, so their luggage is forwarded and they're always booked into certain hotels, so I suppose they demand a certain quality, etc, etc. Me being a single traveller and saying that I was a single person, end up in the little rooms sometimes, not always, sometimes sort of stuck on the edge. The one in Pontevedra was on the ground floor between the front door and the and the reception desk. In the afternoon they were doing some major maintenance. It felt as though they're drilling through the wall, so that was the siesta gone. Cramped is one way of putting it. The bathrooms and the one I've just been in actually, cramped bathrooms. If you were any taller or any bigger, width-wise shall we say, than myself, you would have very difficulty actually manoeuvring yourself to sit on the toilet seat. They just cram these places in, and last night's actually not a bad room actually, to be fair. We had a shared bathroom, which I wasn't expecting. It doesn't matter, as long as you get to do what you want to do when you want to do it, if you see what I mean. That's okay, and that worked out all right. So if I did this or anything like it, I'd maybe do a bit more research on that. That's a bit, it's the experience, isn't it? That's one of the things about me doing these. If you're thinking about doing it, hopefully you might have picked up a few tips and pointers about what to do, what not to do. But yeah, I'll shut up and listen to the birds, I think. Adios for now. The sun's just starting to come up over the hills, and I was thinking actually, I thought this yesterday, that this landscape with these wooded parts of the hills, just running streams and everything, it's very, you could be in England, you could be in Britain. Ferns and oak trees, hearing some of the birds, just as a woodpecker over there, crows and blackbirds and other birds that you get out, great tits and chiff-chaffs I've heard, magpies, loads of pied wagtails. So almost like being at home in a way, just a little bit warmer. But one thing I was going to say actually about the tapas, because tapas is obviously something that Spain is certainly known for, and also Portugal to a degree, but it varies very much as to how much you get, if you get any at all, area by area. And Andalusia is pretty good, especially places like Granada and Seville, but around here it's very good for tapas. And so you get a beer or whatever, or a glass of wine, and they bring you something. It could be just a bowl of olives, could be like a Bombay mix type of thing. Quite often I've had bits of tortilla, yesterday some bread with Iberico ham on the top, and I can look up here because there's a, which way do we go? Carry on, I presume. No sign saying otherwise. So, right, looks like it, judging by this. So, oh yeah, there's the marker. Always something. And to the point where, and this happened to me before in southern Spain, is that you have something you don't really need to order any food. I did that somewhere the other day. I ordered something, and then I got the tapas as well. But I was in a little wine bar last night watching the world go by, and the tapas they bought was absolutely amazing. I said to the guy serving, I said, that is really good, but he wasn't 100% sure what was in it. I think there's bits of chorizo and bits of bread and sauce and I don't know, lots of different things. But also here, something I've never noticed before is that if you order a cup of coffee, like I've done, like the other day I went to have some breakfast and I ordered, at home they quite often give you a little Biscoffy biscuit thing, don't they? But here you'll get a bit of cake, not a huge bit of cake, but a piece of like spongy type cake or something like that as well, or maybe one of those little Madeleine things. Or so I went the other day, I stopped for breakfast and I bought the cows. So once again, very British sort of thing, the sun coming through the glades. And so I thought I'll have a coffee, have an orange juice, freshly squeezed. Usually put the oranges in there in front of you. You can't get any fresher than that. And on a whim, I bought a pan of chocolat. These are huge. And with that came a piece of cake and two other little delicacies. Because I had the coffee. I couldn't eat it all. God. So that's something to bear in mind. If you come out here, look out for the tapas, even if you have coffee. Right, we are going uphill, so onwards and upwards. Adios. Show you the scenery at the moment. Very nice. Come out into the open, sun's come up. Big hills over there. And I was just thinking, because I'm an hour or so into walking, and I'm trying to slow down, but my legs just are sort of pushing me onwards in a weird sort of way. And it's also found myself this morning thinking about tomorrow, thinking about arriving in Santiago de Compostela, and which I've not done. Obviously I've thought about it outside when I haven't been walking, you know, sitting having a drink or something like that, but that's never really entered my head when I've been walking, and it's strange. I'm trying to sort of push those thoughts out of my head and concentrate on walking and try to slow down, but my legs are going, come on Andy, we're nearly there, come on, let's get there, come on. But as I was saying yesterday, I don't want to, obviously I want to get to Santiago, but I want to take my time and enjoy the journey, and not rush it for that reason. You know, I'm going to hopefully be there tomorrow anyway. What time I arrive, it doesn't matter, but I think inevitably when the finish line is in sight, your brain says, come on, you know, let's sprint to the finish. I have no intention of doing that, but you know, it's trying to slow my legs down a bit. Let's see what that says. 37 kilometres. So everyone, you're thinking, oh, just that little bit closer. So, so a strange walking experience today. Still trying to soak everything up, but my brain and my legs are saying, you know, come on, there's a song, and I can't remember what it's called, so my feet know which way to go, or something like that. I'm sure someone can tell me what that is. If they know where they're going already, and they got so used to it. I'm probably going to wake up on Saturday morning in Santiago, my legs are saying, come on Ed, come on, where are we going? And no, it's all right, you can have a rest. No, I want to walk, you know. So they just get so used to it. Muscle memory, I suppose it is. So one of these things, they put lots of, there's another one of these already, little things on the top that people leave on. You know, there's a scallop shell there, you see, just in case you didn't know what one was. See all the lines coming down. What I was talking about the other day. All the lines coming from the top to the bottom. It's all the meeting at the bottom being Santiago. But the shell for me, it always seems to be, if you look at that, the shell seems to be pointing the wrong way. Does that make sense? The arrow's going one way, but you think we'd all be going towards that point of descent. Anyway, all the way there. Right, here we go. Slow down, Andy. Come on. We've climbed up and now heading down. I don't think I'm actually, not sure how far I am, probably no more than about 10k from Padron. And funny enough, I've bypassed a few people and leaving early, and I haven't seen any pilgrims for ages. I passed a girl some time ago, took a slight detour because I was too busy thinking about something else when I crossed the bridge, so I had to double back slightly. But I just passed two people just sitting there by the side. They're pilgrims on their phones and just sitting there, not taking anything in, not talking to each other. And I said right at the beginning, and going on a bit from what I was talking about yesterday to an extent, about the simple life and disconnecting from the modern world that's out there, is that I haven't looked. I mean, obviously I've been using my phone, obviously I have, and I've been looking at putting stuff on Facebook and Instagram, so I've looked at that, but I've not been then mindlessly scrolling along at loads and loads of stuff. And I've not looked at any news since I've been away at all. I've looked at a couple of sports results, but that's it. You do pick up little bits from what people are putting on Facebook, but I've not been following the links or anything. I don't want to know about that. And it was reminding me yesterday, I was just sitting there having a drink after my walk and thinking about that, you know, you're completely disconnected from the world. I don't know what's going on out there. You know, all hell could be breaking loose for all I know, but I'm still here walking in the woods, down there, almost without a care in the world. And all of these other people were doing exactly the same. And all the people are from all over the world, from all different walks of life and shapes and sizes and religions and whatever. And they're all getting along and they're all quite happy doing what they're doing. And it brings it home to you in a way that when you're at home, I read the news, I read newspapers, and I do get involved with that. But when you come here and you're not involved with it, you think, do I really need to be doing that? Because those people at the top are going to do what they do anyway without you. And that back to the old serenity prayer thing is accept those things that you can't change. We have votes, we have other ways of doing things. I know I don't want to go into that whole thing, but you can get very much wrapped up in all of that's going on out there in the real world, your real world. Totally understand, especially with some of the things that are going on now in the world. Not going to go into that, but here, that's a world away. It seems like a world away, and you can understand why people do sort of shut themselves off from all of that type of thing. I mean, at home, actually, another point is at home that we don't have a TV at home. When we moved into our last flat, which was going to be my bachelor pad, and I had a space for a TV on the wall, and then after a couple of weeks, both myself and Julie said, do we need a TV? None of us really watch it. I'm not saying we never watch anything, on our laptop or whatever like that. We do, but it's such a distraction, and so that's simplifying, sort of almost minimalist type of thing. I was talking about and stripping back, going back to the essentials of life, the simple things, because this is free. Anyone, you can go out anywhere and walk. You don't have to go and join a gym and do all that sort of stuff. Just walk out in the countryside. It doesn't cost you a penny. Yeah, you can have footwear anyway. I never see those people who go to the gym and they drive to the gym and then run or walk on the treadmill. And I'm thinking, what? Anyway, gone off on one a little bit there. So, maybe I should shut up and just contemplate and carry on doing what I was doing. But I shan't be checking any news or whatever until I get home, when I suppose I should be bombarded with it, because I should be back into the real world. As I said, one of the things about being here is you're completely disconnected from it, because you're just out in the wilds like this. Great. Adios. Well, into the second half of today's walk, once again in the woods. Just stopped for breakfast, the usual Spanish breakfast that I like to have, and especially myself and Julie when we're in Seville, which we have been several times. Always have the same sort of thing. Have a coffee. I usually have Americano. Julie will have a con leche and a nice orange juice, as I said before, freshly squeezed. Can't get much better than that. And a tostada. I mean, it's basically a big lump of toast, but from a baguette or something like that. And what the Spanish generally do is they have that with either olive oil on the top or a tomato paste. Well, I can't be doing with that. I've tried tomatoes, all right, actually. But we have it with butter and jam. And it sets you up. And it's funny, I was just thinking, I was just strolling after having that breakfast, quarter of an hour ago. And I've realised I slowed down. And the same thing happened yesterday. So it was the first half. I suppose you want to get out of town, get into the forest, get into your stride, into your groove, and into woodland like this or wherever you go. A little bird up there is. Anyway, that's a robin. That's a familiar birds. Wonder if it's so friendly. And get into your groove, and as I said before, sort of moving probably not too fast, it's fine, but faster than I needed to, let's put it that way. And then I stopped, and now I found myself slowing down, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. But on that point about eating and that, yesterday, it never struck me until afterwards that yesterday I had to do my belt up one more notch, and I had to tighten up the waist strap on my rucksack down here. And I suddenly thought, oh, put the two and two together, oh, you're losing some weight, Andy. So if you know, not a bad thing, which is, is bound to happen, I suppose, if you're doing all these kilometres, burning all these calories. Like I've been, alcohol has been taken just about every day, I think. Not huge amounts apart from one day. But eating, they do like their cakes, as I said, but it's more in Portugal than here. So that hasn't been too, I don't think I've overindulged in anything actually. So it'd be interesting to know how much I will have lost. And obviously muscle wise, I suppose you bulked up on that type of thing. But anyway, I shall leave it there. I just thought I'd mention that. Carry on slowing down. And just like those point comes. So lovely little spot once again. Anyway, adios. I mentioned in a previous video about places that I'd seen online and videos and photographs of places that I've come to and go, oh, that's that place, and this is one of them. I'm actually just arrived in Padron, walked along the river, and this lovely little avenue of trees and stuff as well. I'll show you this over here because here's the river, and in front, I think over there in that huge great church is supposedly where St James originally landed, and I think there's something in there with like the original dock or something, the stonework. But I'll have a look and report back on that. But I just wanted to show you this statue, which is inevitably got a pigeon on top of it. You get immortalised in stone, and all you do is have a pigeon sit on the top. But I just thought the actual design of this was slightly unfortunate. If you get my drift, maybe you don't, but I just saw it and it brought a smile to my face, shall we say. Right, so it's only 11 o'clock. I'm in 3.5 hours. I'm amazed. I've got a little bit further to go. As I said, I've got about 2 or 3k outside of the town, but I'm going to stay here for a little bit, have a wander around, have a look at the church, and see what Padron has to offer, apart from, of course, Padron peppers. Which is where they come from, or they're famous for. So I might have to try some of them at some time. Anyway, I shall speak to you again soon. Adios. So that's it for the penultimate day. One day left. Getting exciting. So legs now, I feel fine. I feel very good actually. The stairs, the steps and things make me feel it a bit, which is understandable when you consider how far you've walked, Andy. You're getting up to 250 kilometres now. 25, probably gone over the 25k point actually. I was looking for a sign but I didn't see one. So so one more day left. Arrived, just been up there to that church, and that one was shut unfortunately, but there's another one behind me, which I think is the main one. Which I managed to have a wander in there and get your stamp and everything like that. And I bought a silly little bracelet thing, as you do. Contribution to the cause, €1.50. I think that's quite good. So sit here by the river. Sit down. So yes, a good day actually. A nice walk. I was told it was a nice walk today. All the nice wooded paths with some lovely little villages and some lovely countryside as well. I was going through and thinking, I could live in a place like this. As much as I love Spain, not having been to this area before, it really is nice because it's so, mentioned earlier, it's so familiar in as much as it's green. The livestock and the birds and the animals and that seem quite familiar. The landscape certainly looks very, very British, as opposed to Andalusia, which I love. Partly for the architecture and the sunshine and everything as well, but that's a lot drier, a lot dustier, a lot browner, apart from some areas. But here it's really nice. This whole Galician coast, well, the whole coast actually, to be fair, all the way from Porto up to here, it's been stunning in its own way. I had a little chat with a woman at the wine bar last night, because I saw her get up to leave, and she was struggling with her legs, and I thought, do the international sign language sort of stuff. She said, yeah. And she'd come from Porto as well, done the same route as I'd done, come up the coast, and she was saying about how beautiful the coastline was, and it varies. Obviously, this up here it's greener, and obviously we're away from the coast now. I don't know how far the coast is actually, but you've still got all the rivers and that is. So you've still got water, plenty coming down up the hillsides. But the coastline, as you know, we saw before, that was beautiful. And I was sort of fantasising, right, whereabouts would I want if I wanted to stay? So somewhere that was close to the coast, either on the coast or close to this sort of scene. Anyway, obviously a very historic town. I'm going to go and I think I'm going to break my usual rule, because my accommodation is about 2 or 3k away, as I said. Can't check in just yet. So I think I might treat myself here. It is a nice little spot actually. I might treat myself to a couple of the small beers, and then I shall be on my way. Haven't got far to go, and as I said, feeling good for tomorrow. So that's going to be a big day. It's going to be an interesting day. Anyway, I shall speak to you then. Adios.